Hi, I'm Hits,
And I'm Dan,
and welcome to the second ever episode of Bandwagon's Recent Record Reviews. We'll be talking about records,
that are recent.
and the first record that we'll be talking about is Chua's new album, or EP I guess,
Yes.
called Letters to Ubin. For those of you who don't know, Chua is a prominent singer-songwriter in Singapore. And she actually settled in Ubin and lived there for 4 months in solitude, in nature. And it was there in the kampung house, surrounded by, nature and grass
Yes.
and like the basic necessities where she found her inspiration to write this new album. And I guess this is a musical journal of sorts of her time and experience and all the lessons that she learned out in the wilderness. So my take from it is, alright, just to get this out in the open, I wasn't like a huge fan of Bam Puzzle. I'm sorry, Inch. I think that Letters to Ubin is a huge, massive step up from Bam Puzzle.
Yep.
And that's not a discredit to Bam Puzzle. This is a credit to how great this album is, or how much better it is. It really steps up in terms of production, and I think some of it has to do with the contribution of her producer Evan, or otherwise known as Adventure Time, which is a dope name.
Yeah.
I like that she has taken her voice in a new direction. The electronic production, the little glitches that she has, adds so much dynamicism,
Yeah.
and a fresh context to her voice, which I really enjoyed. I felt that the last 2 tracks were the strongest. Breakbone is an amazing track. That is where she really shines, and I think that's where her new direction really takes off. I'm kind of a fan of Dust That Moves, which is a soaring, swelling pop anthem.
Yeah.
Kind of got me emotional a little bit. And I really like all the new elements she added. You know, as I keep mentioning the electronic parts, dope move, and it just feels like an extremely vibrant album. I do have some issues with that, but we'll get into that later.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What do you think about it?
Basically what you pointed out is exactly how I feel. She really stepped it up since Bam Puzzle, which I felt was kind of an underproduced album. Didn't really highlight the strength of Inch as a musician. Well, this, on the other hand, partnering up with Evan, this definitely upgraded her sound to, I would say, to a level which I don't think any of us expected it to be. Like, considering that she was gonna record in Ubin, so I thought it was gonna be a more primitive lo-fi record, but it's the total opposite.
Exactly.
So
Where
I
did
think
the technology come from?
yeah, exactly. But I guess like there was a lot of few recordings aside, so it does keep it grounded. But with the production that Evan brings to the table, I would say it's otherworldly lah. Like, I've never been to Ubin, so I don't know if this is a very Ubin record itself.
Been at the cycle.
Oh yeah, does it remind you of Ubin at all?
No,
No?
but I like the album.
Yeah, maybe this is a projection of what she thinks Ubin could be lah.
Right.
But either way, actually, like, Mouse Deer is an amazing song. I think that when I was listening to it, I actually could feel like it could be in like a commercial in the best way possible, because like it's just so well written. And I think the choruses in like A Simple Kind of Life and Dust That Moves, honestly, not really digging it. A Simple Kind of Life is definitely a little bit too saccharine for me, and Dust That Moves kind of brings too much into like contemporary Christian music to mind, to be honest.
Aww.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. There are a lot of good contemporary Christian music. It's just that it has the same kind of artificial sheen that pervades a lot of like the alternative Christian music out there.
Sure.
So I felt like the dynamics in the song did not feel as natural as, per se, like Breakbone, for example, or even Mouse Deer. So
Nice.
but overall, I would say that this is her most enjoyable release by far for me.
Same here. And we keep harping on Evan, but let's give Inch her credit.
Yeah.
Most of these songs, or all of these songs, were written by Inch, and she is one of the most competent pop rock
Figures in Singapore. Yeah,
like
sure.
everything she does is solid, and like it's fundamentally sound, and like have like a lot of good things to say about it. That being said, it isn't the perfect album.
Yeah.
And I have to point out that song. What was it? The
Breakbone or
Simple Kind of Life, which was
yeah.
too saccharine.
Yeah.
I feel the same way as well. It's a little cringy.
Yeah.
But on the whole, this is a very solid effort. How would you rate it then?
For Inch, let's see. I would say that the whatever I liked about the EP still balances out what I didn't like about it. So I would say I'll give out a 7.10 just on the fact that the production was so well done. I would say that in terms of the Singaporean albums that have come out, this is definitely one of the best. So just the fact that there was so much effort put into the concept, the structures in most of the songs, because they don't follow a similar kind of pop structure.
Not at all, yeah.
Yeah, so there was definitely a lot of thought put out into like the whole EP flowing as a whole conceptual whole. So
Right.
I think I gotta give credit where credit is due, and even though there are some songs which I could have done without, I still think that it's definitely worth listening to. So 7 out of 10.
Most def. I echo that. I also think it's a 7 out of 10 album. And what I really love about this is the context of which Inch's voice is put in. I feel that sometimes she is a victim of her own success, meaning that everybody knows what an Inchua single sounds like.
Right,
Everybody knows her voice, everybody knows the sound. So when she announced Letters to Ubin, everybody assumed it was kind of gonna be the same old Inch. And there's nothing wrong with that. But this is so fresh. And which is why the good outweighs the bad. So 7 out of 10.
So I think she kind of embodies the Artful Dodger here.
Ooh, snap!
Okay, now we're gonna talk about the new album by Oneohtrix Point Never titled Garden of Delete, aka God, aka God, aka Daniel Lopatin's new project album. Yes, it is Oneohtrix Point Never, and it is probably one of the most mind-bending albums you hear this year, but we'll talk more about that later. Oneohtrix Point Never is the main project of Daniel Lopatin. He is an electronic musician based in America. So he has been putting out albums under various monikers, which range from old school ambient music to the current trend of vaporwave, which kind of he started. So we don't know exactly how we're gonna fit him in, but essentially people just refer to him as an electronic music artist. So we'll just go along with that, but we'll explain more as we go ahead. So his newest album, Garden of Delete, just came out, and it's his second album under the major label WAP, which also houses Aphex Twin and Lords of Canada. So yeah, Hidzer, what do you think about the album?
I thought it was sensory overload. It's a dense sound collage. It throws the listeners a few curves on the way, and I really dug it. Unlike the Grimes album, which was also maximalist, this was like well conceived, well executed, well composed. It combines like a wide range of things, incorporating aspects from previous albums, also incorporating elements like metal, trance,
metal, industrial as
industrial,
well,
R&B, top 40 pop, and when combined, it just feels unmistakably Oneohtrix.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's crazy how how cohesive this is, despite it being so disparate, which I was super impressed by. And this is an album inspired by his adolescence and his recent tour with Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people were expecting a guitar album. Wrong. This was still Oneohtrix.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The album's about it's about a character named Ezra.
Yeah.
And I suppose he is a representation of himself. It could be autobiographical.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there isn't a strict narrative to it. It is more like an emotional arc.
That's one thing about Oneohtrix, because for an artist who does sound collages in a way, because his songs don't have a familiar structure to it, like you can really expect the unexpected with every album. So he tends to take all these sounds together, and like Grimes puts it in a pop context, but for Oneohtrix it's totally freeform. So there's one song where you have like these alien voices with industrial synths. After that, it's just all these vaporwave-ish synths that collide together, which sound at best both like magically sounding but also very unsettling. So one thing about him is he was able to wield that power so well to sounds that still feel very familiar to us, because like you said, he was inspired by Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden, and it's supposed to be an adolescent record. So he took the sounds that were familiar to him when he was a teenager, which was industrial rock, heavy metal, grunge, and he lumped them together into his own sound, which is probably one of the most forward-thinking pieces of body of work out there in electronic music at all. So I think what was striking to me was how different and how similar it is to his previous work, for like a better term. So you know, his previous album R+7 was kind of like when he kind of went into all these hi-fi sounds, but at the same time they still sound nostalgic, they still sound very eerily similar. But this is when he kind of took all these sounds which sound even more familiar, especially with the industrial synths.
Exactly.
And in the end, it all melded together into this album, which is an emotional roller coaster for me, even more so than R+7.
Yeah, there is a Oneohtrix Point identity to everything that he does, and which is wonderful. This I feel that this isn't the best entry point into Oneohtrix Point's
Definitely.
discography.
I think at most it's like a culmination of what he's done so far,
Exactly.
plus going to this new
Yeah.
industrial grunge tinge direction.
You guys have to dig into his back
Yeah.
catalog to understand the full context of this, because and everything is worth listening to, so you should do it anyway.
Definitely.
But just to appreciate this album and its like skill and grandiosity,
Yeah.
that needs to be said. It's a peculiar sounding thing.
Yeah.
But I dug it. It's brilliant. It's dizzying. It uses a lot of things, as you said, and it crafts like wonderful juxtapositions. I think my favorite track on it. It's I Bite Through It.
Oh, I Bite Through It. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a wonderful track. It's one of the most beautiful ambient pop tracks I've heard, just in general, not just on this album.
I think Mutant Standard was fantastic as well. It
For
kind of
sure.
started out as this really dark techno
For
tune,
sure. Yeah.
and then it just evolves into something that's just more familiar of Oneohtrix.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
There's
amazing.
There's also a song called Child of Rage. I
Oh,
think.
Child of Rage, yes.
Yeah, which is named after a child abuse documentary, which is strange because it was quite an uplifting song.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I-
No, but it gets a bit unsettling towards the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see the theme he was going
Yeah.
for. That's nice. So, but like I guess what I want to say is it's intellectually engaging music, and I was into it from start to finish, despite how strange it is.
So what would you score it then?
This would be a 7.5. Yes, I'm using a decimal system.
Pitchfork, huh?
Yeah. I just can't decide.
Okay, for me, I will honestly give it an 8.10. That is my score right now. But honestly, I kind of feel optimistic about it growing on me even more, because that is the beauty of Oneohtrix albums. Sometimes you may not even get it on like first 5-10 listens, but that's the thing, because he's doing something so original and so vivid that you just keep listening in the end, even though if you don't get it, it will immediately grow on you. And if you don't like it, you can probably just dump it. But I think for those who are willing to strap on for the ride, definitely will not be disappointed with Gunna and Delete.
It is legitimately ahead of its time, and because it is ahead of its time, we shouldn't be able to understand it straight away.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's ahead of its time, but it takes all these sounds which were from our past.
Correct, yeah. But like all new music is recontextualized from old music, so it's nothing new, and it's wonderful. Check it out, please.
And now we're gonna talk about the new Justin Bieber album.
Justin Bieber, the Beats.
Yeah, and I don't know if I should introduce Justin Bieber because everyone already knows who he is, but at the same time, this album definitely needs a bit of context.
For sure.
This is 3 years after his last album, Believe, and this is definitely a different beast from anything that he has put out, mainly because of the tumultuous series of events that has happened to him for the past few years. So now we're led to believe that Justin Bieber is this new changed man, he's found God, etc. Blah blah blah, fun hill songs. So now with this new album called Purpose, he kind of summarizes that entire life story into, I would say, like a 50-minute record in a way. Yeah. So with the new singles that he put out with Jack U, which was Where You Now, and then his own solo single called What Do You Mean, honestly, I was actually quite impressed. Like these were solid pop songs, and Justin Bieber sonically sounded mature, and his vocals definitely have gotten better. So I think right now it was weird to say that I actually had expectations for a Bieber album, and it's even weirder to say that I'm let down by a Bieber album. So this is mainly because honestly, he goes downhill after like the 5th song.
I know.
So
man.
I thought he actually started out really strong. He had this series of songs which were like, they pretty much just led to the next song, but in a way where these songs still felt complete. So you had Mark My Words, and then you had I'll Show You, and this is like building up to What Do You Mean. And I thought that was actually pretty brilliant to start an album instead of trying to come out with this definitive statement as a single.
If those 4 songs were an EP, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. After What Do You Mean, you had Sorry, which was a pretty solid single as well, and an obvious choice for another single after that song. But once you start to Love Yourself, it just goes really downhill. It gets so...
It's general advice for life. Don't love yourself.
Yeah. Hate yourself as much as you can.
Yeah.
No one loves you. You're gonna die.
Makes for good music.
Yeah. Honestly, he just stumbles upon the way, and he becomes so indulgent with his own story that it just doesn't become relatable anymore. It just becomes a story about this guy's tale to achieve redemption at a young age, and we're thinking, and I guess like with older listeners, you're thinking like, you still have a long way to go in life. So, what is this? It's like a guy at 15 years old trying to write a autobiography already. So, it's.
Did he do that?
I don't think so.
don't
I
know.
won't be surprised if he
Pretty
has.
sure there's a Bieber autobiography out there.
No,
Let us know
probably,
in the comments.
Yeah, but basically it just becomes this tumbling mess of like self-help songs which just sound like one-liners from Tumblr rather than something that's actually inspiring. God, it was just painful to listen through because he actually got a few pretty solid guest stars. He got Travis Scott, which disappointed me to the max because on Travis Scott's album, Justin Bieber actually did a really good feature, and I was really surprised. So I thought this is gonna be the same thing, but at the same time, it was pretty much reversed.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think?
Well, I echo your sentiment. After his last couple of years of unending PR nightmares, this was sort of a response to it.
Yeah.
This was he went on Comedy Central for that roast, which almost felt like an act of public self-flagellation.
Yeah.
He was punishing himself in public. He was acting contrite. He was acting humble. He was setting himself up for a comeback.
Yeah.
Was that possible? I don't know. Has Bieber earned his apology? I don't know. That's what purpose is about.
Yeah.
And with purpose, it feels like sorry seems to be the easiest word.
Yeah.
He keeps saying sorry over and over and over again, and this whole narrative feels forced.
Yeah.
And it's structured like a redemptive biopic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this is what he imagines his movie to be. Some of the lyricism is pretty incredible by Bieber standards.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. There's a line in the second song that says, "My life is a movie and everyone's watching," which kind of encapsulates all the struggles that he has.
Yeah. And any celebrity in general.
Any celebrity in general, but like it's magnified for a star of Bieber's stature, which I'm sure none of us understand what it's like to be him. But like even as a Bieber apologist, I can see a lot of plot holes in the story he's trying to tell. The music is nowhere near compelling enough to win people over, and in fact this one, it takes itself so seriously that it kind of dulls what makes Bieber so appealing in the first place.
Yeah, and dulls the pop factor as well.
Exactly. I mean, he presents a humbler and more likable version of himself here. I don't know whether that's true, but I'm not sure.
I don't know, it just feels so inauthentic.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just feels like he's trying to push everything together to redeem himself into this album, but as long as it goes, and it goes for a pretty long time, especially the deluxe edition, it just doesn't feel any genuine in any way whatsoever.
Not at all.
Yeah, but I guess like one thing that can redeem the album partially is the production.
Sure.
Like he stepped it up obviously, and he's
Skrillex
taking.
and Diplo was on it.
Yeah,
so,
he took cues from EDM in a good way.
Yeah.
And even PBR&B also.
Yeah.
Very light, but at the same time, it definitely helped to set the mood for, I would say, the darker tracks, even though they sucked, but at least they sounded pleasing.
Exactly. Yeah. I would totally agree with that. This falls somewhere in between for me. Somewhere it falls in between the Bieber canon.
Yeah.
And yes, I've heard all the Bieber albums. Sister Job has it. But this is nowhere near his strongest album, and I wouldn't go see his concert for this. And yes, I've seen Bieber concerts. So I don't know. I was really disappointed by this, much like you. I was expecting so much from the new Bieber album, and that's so strange to say.
Yeah.
But and one last thing. Why are you on this, Nas? What are you doing? Does like Jay-Z need to diss you again? Like, get real, man. Come on.
Yeah, in case any of you don't know as well, Nas is also a rapper, and he essentially, some of the best music he's made is because of feuds. So right now, because he has been kind of like a squeaky clean, he's kind of had a squeaky clean persona.
Pretty much.
He hasn't really made some of the most inspired music of his career.
At all, yeah.
Like not even like by Stillmatic, which wasn't even his best album. So, so at this point with him doing Justin Bieber, even though it raised a few eyebrows, this was at this point where I was like, Nas, come on.
Yeah, come on, Nas. I know you're doing this for the money. You need the money? Come on.
Yeah. So so how would you rate it then?
I would rate this as, man, this is tough. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is a 4.9. This is an almost pass, but you're not quite there, Bieber. I'm sorry.
In that case, I will still stick to my 5, which I thought about earlier. Only because I still felt that at least he stepped up production wise, which was in a way kind of like Grimes or so. But then again, thinking about the amount of producers that were on the album, you realize there is a long list alongside Skrillex and Diplo, and I think that probably contributed to the unevenness of the production. Even though all are good, it's just that especially like the Skrillex and Diplo songs definitely stood out the most. Then again, thinking about it, Justin Bieber really needed to step up on his musicianship as well, because he cannot just rely on producers to make the tracks for him and then he just sings, because he just brings nothing much to the table other than his story, which wasn't even well written to begin with.
Exactly.
So in that way, I just felt totally disappointed because he was building up to something good, but in the end, it was just something that was completely lackluster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm personally I'm a big proponent of judging the artist on the art and not on what he does in his personal life. And I feel like a lot of the hate that's thrown Bieber's way, it's unfair because we don't know him personally.
Yeah.
And the music that he's been making is actually alright. You know, it was alright. So I'm not hating this album because I hate Bieber.
Yeah.
I'm hating this album because I don't like the music.
And it doesn't represent what Bieber wanted as well. At least like
I
how
know.
I felt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like he had an idea for the story, for the narrative. It was just not well executed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bieber.
It's not his redemption record, and it's far from it.
Maybe he might have a redemption record 10 years from now, but this isn't it.
It could be building to something great,
Yeah.
but for now, it's only building to something that's very mediocre. So that's all we have today for Bandwagon's recent record reviews. If there are any albums that you'd like us to review, please do let us know in the comments section below. And if you liked any of our reviews or disliked, please do let us know as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching.
Peace.